Hello guys, here I will tell you about manhwa entitled I Used to Be the Boss. This manhwa tells of a demon named Baphomet, who is getting bored because he is trapped in the tower. One day he had a strong desire to become a strong human and be free to go wherever he pleased. Can Baphomet make his dream come true? Let's start the story. There are all kinds of toys in this world, like humans. Then it was shown that a man was wearing full equipment armor with a sword in his hand. At that time, he was reciting prayer sentences. Shortly after that, the man died instantly. Someone who finished him then said, "I will send you to his side." Then an old man came to him while taking out a sword in his hand. The old man said, "Today is my wedding anniversary. Too bad I have to finish it quickly." Then here it is seen that the old man died too. Then someone says, "Your wedding anniversary isn't it the day? Today is your funeral." After a while a woman appeared and said, "Hello, is anyone here?" Then someone said in his mind, "Oh, this time there is a cute toy." The woman wondered if this was the top floor. Then the woman asked someone in the room, "Is he the boss of that tower?" "I am indeed the master of this tower." The woman then felt relieved that it was not lost. Then suddenly the woman attacked the ruler of the tower with a magic weapon in her hand, saying that climbing this tower is very difficult. Kill the head of the goat. Then it was seen that the woman was also helpless against the lord of the tower. The man with the goat's head is seen taking out everyone who tries to attack him. No one can beat him. It turns out that the man with the head of a goat is named Baphomet. He is a ruler of the tower. Baphomet serves as an appraiser who assesses the worthiness of someone who comes to his place. Every day Baphomet just sits on his throne and waits for someone to come against him. Baphomet enjoys the moment when someone comes to fight him. But this feeling is always accompanied by disappointment because Baphomet is always in that place as a result of not being able to open the big door, which is the only way out. Baphomet can only wait for a new toy to open its doors every day. Baphomet is always looking for a way to fill the extraordinary boredom until the toys come to him. One day, because he couldn't contain his anger, he said, "All this is just bullshit," while hitting the gate. Baphomet questioned why he was the only one trapped in that place. Then suddenly Baphomet heard a ring from a cell phone lying on the floor. Then Baphomet came up with a great idea. Then someone came up to him. The hunter told him that he would beat him to become the strongest hunter. But in the end, the man was unable to match the ruler of the tower and asked Baphomet while holding a mobile phone in his hand. Then Baphomet approached the hunter and said how to use this thing. Baphomet was a little curious about the object the man was holding. Then Hunter explained how to use it. Hunter also explained the features of the cell phone. He even took a photo with a Baphomet. When Baphomet was focused on his cell phone, suddenly the man took a sword and was about to finish him off. But once again that Baphomet easily finished off the hunter. Baphomet was quite pleased with the things the men had brought to his place. Then Baphomet thought that previously would never collect the things of humans. Then Baphomet looked at the things left by the man. Seeing some of the things made him understand how human life is. Then while relaxing, Baphomet thought that the more he knew how humans lived, the more he wanted to go to see that world. Baphomet wonders if in the human world, there is a supernatural existence they call God who grants all their wishes. Then Baphomet questioned if there is a God and whether God can grant his wish. At that time Baphomet felt goosebumps run down his body, when he realized that Baphomet was starting to think like a human. Not long after that, the bell, which was a sign that someone was going to enter the room, rang. At that time Baphomet didn't expect anything anymore, because Baphomet thought that humans would die again. Then the black-robed man was seen walking into the room. Baphomet then started to get up from his seat and tried to attack the white-haired man. The fierce battle began. They were seen attacking each other using their respective techniques. That human was able to put up fierce resistance to Baphomet, which made Baphomet quite happy. The white-haired man wielded a chain-type weapon covered in blue light. The man fearlessly attacked Baphomet continuously. Baphomet was feeling very excited because this was the most awaited battle. Baphomet unleashed every technique he had. Then during the fierce battle, Baphomet tried to attack the man from behind. With alacrity, the man was able to kick Baphomet so that he bounced down. For some reason, at that time Baphomet felt very jealous of that human. When Baphomet was lying on the ground, then the man took out his sword and tried to finish him. Baphomet didn't want to lose. At that time Baphomet managed to get up and took out his weapon to finish off the human. It turns out that humans are strong enough because these humans can make Baphomet urge. A fierce battle continues, and they continue to attack each other. At that time, Baphomet started to get annoyed because he knew he would lose the match. Baphomet wondered how could he lose to a mortal. Baphomet kept saying, "I am the lord of this tower." Suddenly from behind the human whispered in his ear, "Even so, Baphomet is trapped in this place." It wasn't long before the white-haired man defeated Baphomet. At that time Baphomet felt jealous of humans because according to him humans were strong and had freedom. In his heart, Baphomet wished he could become a human like the white-haired man. Then a notification appears that Baphomet has a mission to kill a hunter named Raven. It turns out that Raven is the name of the man who managed to beat him earlier. Then a message appeared warning that the tower would soon be destroyed. Raven was seen starting to leave that place. Then it was seen that the tower was starting to disintegrate. Then 2 project workers found bodies around the tower. Then one of the workers saw that there were survivors. After that, they asked the man who survived, "Sorry, are you okay?" It turns out that Baphomet is not dead. He managed to outwit the white-haired hunter and he succeeded in taking the man's heart so that Baphomet could become human. Then the worker asked whether Baphomet was a hunter or not. The worker also asked what his name was. Smiling, he said his name, Baphomet. Then a message appears informing that Baphomet has completed the quest by killing Hunter Raven. As well as Baphomet also received the gift he wanted, which was to become human. Hunter, they are people who fight monsters inside the gate tower. At first, position Hunter was not a great position. Until that day came, gate shock was a phenomenon of a tower that was invincible for quite a long time, thus making monsters come out of the tower. According to information circulating that the gate shock phenomenon wiped out more than a third of the population in the world. After that incident, people started training to become hunters and tried to finish the tower. Baphomet is a being who rules the Tower of Abyss. Most of the hunters died in his hands. Then it was seen that everyone misunderstood him. They thought that Baphomet was a hero capable of clearing the Tower of Abyss. After that incident, Baphomet even lost all his strength. Then he saw Baphomet who was sitting alone at that time. Then there was a man who told him that he found something interesting. One day there was a member of the dungeon miners who had just started working. The worker started to introduce himself in front of the other workers. Then the senior from the dungeon mine explained the work the recruits had to do. Senior said that the work in the dungeon mine is not difficult because it only requires labor. Senior also explained that the mining area was expanded thanks to the hunters after successfully defeating monsters. Then the senior said that the new member was assigned to Area D according to him. The new member would not be bored working in Area D considering that there are many rare stones there. When the senior was talking to the new members, suddenly several workers were passing by while escorting Baphomet. The man who was escorting Baphomet said to step aside. Then the new worker said to the worker in front of him, "Who are they?" Senior told Unaya not to get involved with them. The worker said that the group led by Baphomet likes to bully people they don't like. The worker said to stay away from Baphomet and not to mess with him. Then the new members asked their seniors if they could let them work. According to his senior, the head of the project liked him because of his good work. Then it is seen that the head of the project is distributing the salary to the miners, saying you did a good job. The project head also distributed the salary share to Baphomet, seeing that Baphomet was silent with a surprised face hearing the project head's words. Then his friends said they would treat him to food. Some invited him to the game place to play games. Then suddenly one of his friends asked Baphomet where did he send his work. It turned out that Baphomet sent all his money to a doctor he hated so much. This problem started when Baphomet was seriously injured due to a monster attack. Then, because he had no money for treatment, Baphomet was forced to work in the dungeon mines and sent his salary to the doctor. Unfortunately, everyone knows that he doesn't have any power and is finally labeled as a fraud. It was even broadcast on national TV. Annoying things also started happening in the mine. At that time, several people knew who Baphomet was, so they always bullied him. At first, Baphomet always ignored the insult. Then one day his anger began to overflow when he was called by the name of a fraud, which made him feel very angry, so Baphomet taught everyone who messed with him one by one. Even Baphomet beat up people who only looked at him. After that, the delinquents started to approach him and made Baphomet to be their leader. He thought it was not human life that he wanted. Then the scene shifted to the newly joined worker. Currently, the worker is doing his new job. Then suddenly the worker is startled by the appearance of a monster in front of him. Then when they were about to be attacked by the monster, the worker was saved by the hunters. The hunters told the new workers that they had not cleared the area, so they could not enter the area. Baphomet, who saw the incident while looking at the palm of his hand, he thought that Baphomet lost all his strength because he became human. The reason that made him want to become a human was that he was jealous of a strong and free human like the hunter he had defeated last time. Then one of my friends who always follow him said to me, "Young Nim is cooler." According to Baphomet, his friends are not wrong, but if they see a great hunter they will like it. Then another worker explained that the hunters got a lot of money from the magic stones they sold. Hunters got these stones after killing monsters. This is evidenced by several hunters who can live in luxury apartments. According to Baphomet, living in luxury apartments is not something he is jealous of. In his mind, Baphomet agreed with what the workers said because they don't know the true value of money, can't claim to be free. Just thinking about that made Baphomet smile. Baphomet was quite surprised when he saw their attitude towards him. Baphomet realized that that was the feeling he had while playing with his toys while still in the tower. namely the feeling of pleasure. Then Baphomet wondered does now he wants strength again to be able to enjoy the pleasures he felt in the tower. But now Baphomet can feel that pleasure even if he doesn't fight because Baphomet has become a human. After thinking about that, Baphomet's smiling face appeared. Even without strength he could feel the pleasure. Then one of the new workers named Cha. Suddenly while working there was an explosion in the mine. Baphomet was very surprised and wondered about what happened. Then everyone was seen screaming for help to be saved. When he saw the worker who was with him die, Baphomet then realized that again his toy was broken, even though according to him he had just experienced the pleasures that exist in the human world. Then the scene moves to Area D. Some hunters and workers have just joined. The rookie said to the hunters, "See, rank hunters are great. You two, it's enough to give me trouble. I got something interesting by intruding into this dungeon. I want it." The hunter said to his friend. That person was the robbing hunter. The robbing hunter. It was a group of people who robbed items belonging to other hunters. The beginner turned out to be a robbing hunter. Then the robbing hunter said that only half of what you said was true, but the male hunter then asked if there were any survivors from the attack. According to Hunter, the woman next to him had several injured people, adding that the chance of being healed was quite small. The male hunter explains that they have no chance of winning against a B-rank hunter. Then suddenly the robbing hunter attacks the two C-rank hunters until one of them dies. Then when she saw her friend die, the female hunter immediately attacked the robbing hunter. The robbing hunter said that a hunter should not be carried away by emotions. If that happened, he would die early. The female hunter fell from the robbing hunter's attack. Then the man opened a portal, after which it was seen that there were several robbing hunters coming out of the portal. The robbing hunter said wouldn't it be fine to just attack her neck? Because the woman wouldn't stop screaming. According to his friend, the most important thing is that the woman is still alive. When they were about to be taken, the woman asked what they were going to do with her. Then robbing hunter told him that he had said before. It can be seen that the woman was being brought by a friend from robbing hunter. One of her friends said that the item that the female hunter had was quite expensive, but because the item was rare, it couldn't be sold. Even if she used it, it would only reduce its strength to 0%. Then while traveling, suddenly the man's head bounced up, and the scene moved to the location of Baphomet, who was wondering about who was the person who carried out the attack. Then suddenly a hidden quest notification message appeared saying that Baphomet had felt the anger of being a human. Baphomet will be rewarded with the power he desires. After knowing this, Baphomet said to everyone that they would pay for breaking my toy. Slowly Baphomet approached the group of robbing hunters. Baphomet reached for the sword that was stuck in the ground. Then a notification message appeared saying that when using someone else's item the power decreases to 0%. It doesn't take long for a notification to appear that a system error has occurred. A special passive appears from Baphomet, namely Master of Weapons, which has been successfully activated. This passive allows Baphomet to remove all status reduction effects when using someone else's weapon. Then the weapon theft skill automatically appears due to passive activation of the Master of Weapon. Then Baphomet immediately lunged forward and finished off the robbing hunters one by one until the group leader was left. After that, Baphomet, at high speed, lunged at several hunter thugs in front of him. The leader of the robbing hunter shouted to his men, "What are you doing? Quickly find Hunter's position. Let's see how strong he is." Baphomet started to launch attacks on the three robbing hunters in front of him with some of the skills he had. Baphomet easily finished them off one by one. His opponent was paralyzed. A look of loathing appeared on his face. Two robbing hunters smiled as they said, "What is the rank of Baphomet?" Attack after the attack occurred, the man said that Baphomet was not an ordinary hunter, but a hunter above rank C. The man seemed to have managed to slightly injure Baphomet. He then explained why a hunter like Baphomet was hiding in that place. As he lunged at the Baphomet, he then carried out a barrage of attacks with his chain sword, which managed to tear the Baphomet's passive. Baphomet called Outburst is automatically activated. The passive has several conditions to activate, namely when it is hit by heavy bleeding so that all starts increase by 15%. Seeing this, the man was shocked and said what he was holding back, "This is not fair." At that time Baphomet managed to punch the man so that he was thrown far enough to crash into a rock. Quickly Baphomet jumped and swung his sword at the man while blocking Baphomet. The second sword swing from Baphomet was dodged by the man, and Baphomet continuously pressed the man. The man thought that Baphomet didn't even have any doubts about him. In every attack, it seems as if he wants to finish off his enemy immediately, plus his physical strength is above him. The longer this fight lasts, Baphomet will be at a disadvantage, because he has used his strength a lot. The man thought that Baphomet was a hunter who knew nothing about fighting. When he saw the look of Baphomet, the man was quite surprised and wondered who Baphomet was. Also thought that Baphomet wasn't like a human. Then it was seen Baphomet managed to paralyze the man's right arm. Cruelty begins to be shown visibly. Baphomet tore off this man's hand instead of killing his toys. Finally, the man asked Baphomet to stop his attack. But Baphomet didn't care and continued to kill robbing Hunter. After that, a notification popped up saying that huge consequences always followed those who wanted great power. At that time, Baphomet also activates an buff which causes the desire to slaughter to increase. Active passive outburst, Baphomet's thirst for humans increasingly makes him want bloodshed. Then Baphomet realized that a woman was lying helpless behind him. Then the voices in his mind kept whispering to him. The voices told him that he was a creature created to kill humans. When Baphomet was about to swing his sword at the woman, suddenly there was another sound nearby. It turned out that the voice came from a man who was reporting to his manager if there were 2 survivors and information about the target they were looking for. The man also said that he saw something strange, namely that one of the survivors was trying to kill the person in front of him. Then the manager came and looked at Baphomet. According to his manager, it turned out that Baphomet Buka was the target they were looking for. Then Baphomet immediately attacked the 2 men. The reason was that Baphomet had seen them somewhere. While attacking the 2, Baphomet said die. Then the manager immediately used a technique of his own which knocked the Baphomet unconscious on the spot. Then a creature similar to Baphomet was seen sitting on his throne. Then there were voices asking for orders from Baphomet while raising his hand. The creature said kill all the people in this world, stake the name of Baphomet. Then it is shown that at that time behind Baphomet, Raven was thrusting his sword at Baphomet. Dan said you must not have noticed while still reigning as a monster in the tower. Then suddenly Baphomet woke up from his sleep with a confused face. Baphomet said what the heck, where am I, shouldn't I be in the mines? Shortly after that, there was a voice from behind him, can you hear me? Finally, you wake up. Baphomet, who was confused at that time, wondered who it was. The man says are you a cheater? No wonder his face doesn't look foreign, you're a fraud. Who was caught tricking everyone by claiming that you have cleared the Tower of Abyss, but now the imposter is actually killing the hunter we are after. Are you trying to trick people again, or are you the one who killed that hunter? Baphomet looked confused by what the man was saying. He thought maybe what the man meant was the person defeated mind. The man said that he had researched a bit of information about Baphomet, but found no correct information. According to that man, Baphomet like a person who suddenly appeared in this world. The man added that no data on Baphomet was found in the hunter member list. According to him, it was quite strange because Baphomet has a hunter license, but has the ability to awaken and is also stronger than a hunter range B. The man then asked Baphomet who he really was. As the man started to talk about his decision to Baphomet, suddenly Baphomet punched the TV in front of him and it shattered. Then he said, shut up, if you want to know who I really am, show your courtesy first by introducing who you are. You look at me through the mirror and try to get the fear out of me. Then Baphomet told the man that it was the people themselves who labeled him a fraud. Then Baphomet said that he was the one who killed the hunter that the man was after, and thought that he shouldn't regret it. With a face full of anger, Baphomet said that hunter made him angry. No matter how many times they live, Baphomet will kill him the same way until not a single person can be identified anymore. Hearing that incident made the man laugh. Then somehow suddenly the man was in front of the Baphomet and said, do you think you can kill me? Smiling, the man said, now if I show myself, what will you do? Baphomet was quite surprised because the man was suddenly in front of him. Then Baphomet saw Hunter Raven's shadow in front of him and then immediately attacked the man quickly. The man was able to stop Baphomet and knock him to the floor. While pressing Baphomet's body to the floor, the man then said, so you did have an awakening? Just now it was a good attack. Baphomet later found out that the man was not just anyone. Then the man started to introduce himself. The man turned out to be part of the state intelligence service which secretly handled crimes related to hunters. The man said that the hunter that Baphomet killed was the person they were after. The man said that he would also kill them if he found them before Baphomet. He said that their group had violated human rights, namely entering identity and hunting down innocent hunters, then selling their organs. According to him, the reason they sell hunters' organs is that according to rumors, someone eats awakened organs so they will live long. Seeing that Baphomet was quite frightened when the man pressed against him. Then the man said to him, we thank you for lightening our work, but still, you have killed 5 people very brutally. According to the man, Baphomet did it neatly as a professional would do. According to his experience, someone who had just awakened would not be able to do that. And that can only be done by people who have often killed many people. The man explained, he only knows that the information he knows about Baphomet is only a fraud. He tries to find out who Baphomet really is. At that time, Baphomet felt very annoyed with that man. Baphomet felt that he had sacrificed many things to become a human, but still, he couldn't keep up when fighting that man. Then the man said that Baphomet was a dangerous person who was born with a natural talent for evil. If not stopped, then one day Baphomet will become a criminal hunter who is wanted by the government. Then in his mind, Baphomet thought if only he did not lose his strength and have a free body, then that person will submit to him. Suddenly the man showed a strange character to Baphomet, saying you must be eliminated. At that time Baphomet looked quite frightened by the man's reaction to him. Then the scene shifted to the Hunter Administrative Center. The place was bustling with novice hunters. There is also a rental for special hunter weapons. Turn for Baphomet's administrative shirt. Only here is a flashback showing the reason why Baphomet was in the administrative center of Hunter. The reason was that at that time the man who wanted to eliminate him said that even though he was a government agent, that man couldn't just kill people. He said that he quite liked Baphomet because he thought that with the power Baphomet had, he would be of little use. After that, the man invited Baphomet to join him in the Rogue Group, which is one of the intelligence agencies under the auspices of the government. Man thinks that Baphomet should use his instincts and talent in the Rogue Group. Baphomet, who at that time agreed to join Rogue, was then given a special hunter identity card. The scene switches to the administration area for the hunters. Baphomet told one of the registration officials that he wanted to register as a hunter. The lady then asked for her ID card and aptitude score. It turns out that the ID card and talent score used by Baphomet have been faked by the Rogue Group. After the registration process was complete, the woman then asked Baphomet about the code name to be used. The code name is used to distinguish Hunter from ordinary civilians, and if you don't specify the code name Baphomet, you won't be able to register as a hunter. The woman then asked for the code name that the Baphomet wanted to use. Baphomet thought that they would regret giving him a chance, but Baphomet vowed that he would become stronger than anyone. Baphomet began to mention that he would use the code name with name Baphomet. In his mind, Baphomet thought that one day everyone would tremble with fear when they heard his name. The scene begins with a fight between Baphomet and some white wolves. Here it can be seen that Baphomet started to kill some of the white wolves. Then a huge monster wolf appeared that looked like the leader of them. Suddenly Baphomet showed a gesture to stop and said wait, then raised his hand saying come, it seems they are not coming. After seeing this, the monster immediately attacked Baphomet even though in the end Baphomet managed to land an attack on the monster first. Baphomet managed to defeat the monster. After that Baphomet came out from his portal. While looking at his hand, Baphomet said, "It seems my strength has not fully returned yet. I can only deduce one reason why my strength hasn't fully returned yet." While thinking about his strength, a notification about a hidden quest suddenly appeared. The notification said that Baphomet would gain the desired power if he managed to put his anger on humans. While looking at the notification screen, Baphomet realized that his previous goal was to finish off those criminals so that he could regain a bit of his strength. Baphomet was also annoyed by that because while he was living in the tower until he became human, the notification message always bothered him. As he walked, Baphomet thought that the more he found out, it wasn't certain that Baphomet would find the answer. Then Baphomet decides what to do from then on, which is to restore his strength from the beginning again. Then suddenly there was a shadowy monster behind him. Baphomet felt a strange aura behind him, then quickly looked back. It turned out that behind him was the assistant of the Rogue Group manager. While holding his cell phone, the man shows a video call from manager. In that call, the manager said, "You like to seek attention. What kind of madman would use the name Boost Tower as a code?" Next, the manager said that he had told Baphomet not to seek too much public attention. The manager said that he suspected Baphomet had grudges with people who accused him of being a fraud. Manager explains that Baphomet has spread to almost all hunters. Besides that, the manager said that the results of the investigation regarding towers had come out and the results had determined that Raven had succeeded in solving it. According to the manager, it got worse for him because a top hunter from Korea had sacrificed his life to kill Baphomet. Suddenly Baphomet cut him off, and I don't care what people say because just hearing it makes me yawn. Then Baphomet said that he just needed to become strong so that no one would dare to gossip about him. The manager said Baphomet was too arrogant and asked if he could really handle it. The manager added that Baphomet must bear the consequences for his own actions. Then at the end of the conversation, the manager said that he would be waiting for Baphomet on the destination island. For the first time, Baphomet felt very happy in the sea. When the assistant manager told Baphomet that they should take a taxi from that place, there was still 2 hours before the event started. Baphomet ignored him and instead ran towards the beach. Then his assistant remembers something. When questioning manager's decision about using Baphomet as a member of the Rogue Group, manager says that a job like that requires someone who is a little crazy. The manager also said that he would keep an eye on him and if something happened he would finish him off. Then Baphomet was interested when he saw 2 foreigners because they had blue eyes. Approaching them, Baphomet asked if this was a different race than the toys, but the assistant manager directly dragged it down. The assistant manager said, "Stop embarrassing the country, it's time for us to leave." The scene moves to a luxury hotel. It turns out that a hotel is an orientation place for new hunters. Then the assistant manager was seen explaining why Baphomet was in that place. Baphomet questioned what the assistant manager meant about orientation. According to the assistant manager, orientation is a training program to help hunters adapt well. Baphomet questioned why they would do such a thing. Hunter's job should only be enough to kill monsters. Then the assistant manager explained that it was a rule set by the government, unlike other countries that appoint hunters according to their will and use them as they. The assistant manager handed over several items such as identity cards and cell phones to Baphomet. It can be seen on his identity card that the name Baphomet as a human is Cha Min Wu. While holding the identity card, Baphomet recalled the reason for using that name, because his friend at the time of mining suggested him use his name. His friend thought that the name would be suitable for Baphomet. The head assistant said that the orientation program would start soon, and told Baphomet to go inside. Then Baphomet thought you would come in with me, but in fact not. The assistant manager said later that Baphomet would also know when he was inside. Then the scene moves into the building. S annoyed face could be seen by Baphomet because he knew that the manager himself, Ma Seung-un, was leading the orientation. Then when in the food room, Baphomet questioned why is the manager the head of the orientation. When he heard those words, the manager asked him to lower his voice because the manager was afraid that other people would hear it. Because at that time all people knew about manager was a member of the Central Hunter Management. After hearing this, the manager then told Baphomet that everyone in that place was talking about him. It seemed that everyone resented him being there, for Baphomet had been branded a fraud. Besides that, the code name he used was the name of the floor boss who killed the top hunter from Korea. Then the manager told Baphomet not to act as if he knew him. At that time Baphomet thought that he would ignore him and thought it was better to just enjoy the food. When the manager saw the reaction from Baphomet, who remained calm and enjoyed the situation, made him very relieved because Baphomet has a strong mentality. Not long after, when he was thinking about Baphomet, suddenly Baphomet bumped into some of those people. It turned out that they were Hunter rank. Seeing this, the manager said in his mind, why is that Hunter in this place? Then the manager asked one of the female committee members next to him about the reason Hunter was in that place. The woman wrote that the rank hunters were preparing for their special training that day. According to the manager, a special training schedule for rank should be held next week. Then the woman said that the schedule often changed and finally was set today, so naturally, the manager was confused about this. The woman also added that it would help to have a good influence on novice hunters. Then with a face full of worry, the manager said the person with good influence is Baphomet. When he saw the food in front of him, Baphomet was very happy because Baphomet had seen a human doing a banquet like this in the form of a photo on a hunter's cell phone. When he was about to start enjoying his food, suddenly someone splashed water on him. The people at that time were very shocked by what happened then. Then after attacking Baphomet, the man said, "What Baphomet? Nice to meet you. I was curious to see what your arrogant face looked like. Turns out you're only human." It turned out that the person who had attacked Baphomet was a rank hunter named Leon. It wasn't long before another ranker came, said to Leon, "What are you doing?" At that time his friend told Leon not to be rude because everyone saw it. Leon said he couldn't stay silent when he saw Baphomet, who he thought was like a dog. Then his friend Leon apologized to Baphomet for what happened. But he said that Baphomet was also a little guilty because he had used the code name of the floor boss who had killed the other hunters. According to him, using the code name only made Baphomet look mocking at other hunters. When one of the hunters was talking to Baphomet, suddenly Baphomet stood up and spilled his food on Hunter Leon. Everyone who saw it was shocked by what happened then. Leon angrily pulled Baphomet's shirt and said, "Are you tired of living?" Then Baphomet says, "Just because of a name you guys are making a fuss like this." Hearing Baphomet, Hunter Leon's friend just now said, "What do you mean?" Then Baphomet half-jokingly said, "I understand. I don't think you are good enough to do it." Then Leon took out the physical opportunity buff and clenched his fists, as if to punch Baphomet. Leon said, "Are you done talking?" The manager at that time was silent with a confused face. Then Leon thrust his fist towards Baphomet. Leon imagined Hunter Raven's face showing appreciation for Leon's physical strength. Then while pointing his fist at Baphomet, Leon said that the boss had already killed Raven. At that time, Baphomet was silent for a moment and thought about defending or avoiding. However, according to him, whatever choice he made, there would still be bloodshed. Then suddenly there was a man who said fighting here would be against the rules. It turned out that the man was the one who stopped Leon's punch at that time. Then Baphomet looked at the man and he said, "Isn't that the face I've seen before?" The people around him also asked how it happened that the hunter was here, and it was surprising that the hunter was the younger brother of Hunter Raven, the person who was killed by Baphomet when he became a monster. Then in his mind, Baphomet, Raven, does he really have a younger brother? Then it was discovered that Raven's younger brother was named Griffin. He was the youngest hunter who was in rank. Seeing this, one of the hunters said, "Long time no see, I didn't expect you to come to practice today." Leon said to Griffin, "You really welcomed him like that, even though this jerk just came around casually." Then Griffin said, "Leon, he's innocent. If only my brother managed to kill Baphomet faster and if only he was stronger, then he wouldn't have to die while completing the tower." Then in order for this commotion to end, the manager said, "Calm down hunters, you shouldn't do that." There's no need to act like this. Besides, there are lots of witnesses around here. Then with an irritated face, Leon asked the manager as a team of Hunter intelligence, shouldn't it be the manager's job to punish Baphomet? Too bad the manager just smiled and apologized. Then the manager invited Baphomet. Initially Baphomet refused, but he finally agreed. When Baphomet followed the manager, Griffin's face showed curiosity toward him. The scene switches to the orientation event. It was seen that one of the staff who acted as the host at the event was explaining knowledge about the Hunter system. The woman explained that when someone experiences awakening, a blue window system will appear. She also explained to novice hunters that they had developed a system that made it easier for novice hunters. Baphomet, who at that time looked very bored, then remembered the conversation with manager shortly before. Turning his face towards Baphomet, manager said, "Hit me once." I said, "Hit me." Hearing this, Baphomet said, "Have you gone mad? Why are you acting like this all of a sudden?" The manager explained that if he didn't recruit Baphomet, then the fight like before wouldn't happen. Manager felt it was his fault. At that time, Baphomet thought that it was his chance to get back at manager. Hearing complaints, Baphomet's manager explained that at least he had to wait for himself to get stronger first. With a serious tone, the manager said, "Listen to me, when you get stronger, no one will talk arbitrarily to you. So right now you just need to hide first." The manager added that even if Baphomet had such power, Baphomet would not be able to win against a rank hunter, and that was the truth. The manager also asked Baphomet to mingle with the others first so he can adapt to the surrounding environment. At least Baphomet doesn't create riots at hunter places like this. Then it was seen that several people there were talking about Baphomet and saying why an imposter could be at the orientation. They say it's because of the Baphomet hunter it's affected. Then a thump was heard. It turned out to be Baphomet, who was hitting the drink machine in front of him at that time. Then with an annoyed face, Baphomet blamed this machine for eating my money. Here you can see the two people were scared when they saw Baphomet hitting the drink machine. Then the two hunters distracted themselves by talking about a friendly match between Hunter. According to what they said, the match would be held in the JXR room. Because they are very interested in it, they intend to go there. Then in his mind, Baphomet thought that it seemed he didn't need his fist to make them leave. Baphomet then remembered something about the friendly match between Hunter that the two of them had talked about earlier. Then Baphomet was seen visiting the JX room where a friendly match between hunters was being held. Then it was seen that Hunter Leon managed to defeat his opponent. After losing, the man said to Leon, "I expected I would not be able to win against you, but I managed to learn something." Hunter Leon said to him, "It seems your skills have improved enough." Then one of the event staff said that Leon had won 8 matches in a row. The staff asked if there was anyone who wanted to challenge Leon. It was seen that people were silent as if no one wanted to fight Leon. Then suddenly Leon asked Griffin to play just one round. Griffin can be seen agreeing to Leon's invitation. The rule is that the first person to take the blue cloth from his opponent's arm will be declared the winner. The use of passive and active skills is prohibited in that match. The manager also came to the place. Then the female staff in front of him told the manager that there were many novice hunters watching with a smile. The manager said it looks like this will have a positive effect on the newbies. Then one of the staff could say that Hunter Griffin has been getting handsome lately, then intend to ask for her number later. Then after she asked the manager about the age of Hunter Griffin, the manager explained that he was only in grade 2 junior high school. The scene switches to the duel between Leon and Griffin. Leon said, "Let's see if your skills have progressed." Griffin threw a kick at Leon and the duel broke out in Clash of Clans. The two hunters avoided each other's attacks well. According to Leon, Griffin's movements were still rough as usual. Then when he wanted to grab the ribbon on Griffin's arm, Griffin suddenly avoided Leon's movement and moved behind him while pulling the ribbon on Leon's arm. Then it was determined that Hunter Griffin was the one who won the duel. Then everyone was talking about Griffin's amazing movement, even without using any skills. According to them, the best hunter at rank it's amazing. They also added that his promotion to Hunter Rank S was only a matter of time. Then Leon is seen congratulating him on his victory. According to him, Griffin deliberately gave him the opportunity to attack and target his weak point. Leon added that if his brother were still alive, he would be proud of Griffin. Then suddenly Griffin asked for another fight with someone else. Unexpectedly, he appointed Baphomet to be his opponent. Baphomet, who was currently focused on watching, was suddenly surprised by Griffin's request. Leon didn't seem to agree with Griffin's request. Then the staff also said that Baphomet was not rank A, and the staff felt that it was impossible to implement it because Baphomet was a novice hunter. Then from the top of the balcony, the manager said that he thought it sounded interesting. According to the manager, with the duel, the staff could collect data about the difference in strength between hunter veterans and beginners. The manager said that the match could be a role model for novice hunters. It is then shown that Baphomet and Griffin are starting to prepare for a duel. Before the duel against Baphomet, some of Griffin's powers had already been sealed. While glancing at manager Baphomet, wondering what the manager was thinking, even though he was the one who told Baphomet to hide. The manager explains that the duel will make Baphomet stop being arrogant after being beaten so badly. Then while watching Griffin, who was currently warming up, Baphomet thought he was Raven's younger brother. In the first place, it's nearly impossible for me to win against him in my current state. When Baphomet was thinking about what strategy to use, Griffin suddenly attacked him. At that time, Baphomet managed to parry his punches, but then he was slammed to the floor by Griffin. Then Griffin threw a punch right at Baphomet's face, but Baphomet managed to avoid the attack. Baphomet finally realized why Griffin would want to fight him. The reason he definitely wants to teach him all out. Seeing Griffin's attack, the people around him thought that Baphomet made Griffin angry because he used the code name of the creature that killed his brother. They also said that at that time Baphomet was like a punching bag. Then with a serious face, Griffin continuously attacked Baphomet, who was on the defensive. When he wanted to land a punch on Griffin, Griffin suddenly avoided it and managed to knock him down. Then Baphomet looks out of the desperate situation, and he thinks that Griffin is just playing with him. Baphomet thought that if his former strength returned, he would easily defeat Griffin. Baphomet also added that if only Griffin's powers were not limited by the committee, then he could see his true strength. While being attacked by Griffin, Baphomet smiled because he really liked the thrill of fighting strong people. Then suddenly Griffin asked to stop the duel. Baphomet, who heard this, was quite surprised by Griffin's decision. Then Griffin said there was no meaning in continuing this duel. Is that it? Because this is a special map, it should be enough here. When the male staff asked the people in the room whether anyone wanted to participate or not, suddenly Baphomet interrupted the man and said, "No, I want to fight, I want to continue the fight." Saw a cruel face Baphomet when he said that. Then Baphomet remembered what manager had said about him not being able to win against a rank hunter, even though Baphomet used 100 bodies. Even though Baphomet agreed with what the manager said to him, he felt very annoyed, because how long would he be humiliated like that? Then Baphomet felt like he had moved to a faraway location, even though at that time he was still at Hunter's orientation. Then suddenly the aura that Baphomet became darker and darker, as if the figure of Baphomet had previously entered his body. Griffin, who saw this, was then quite surprised by the aura released by Baphomet, who seemed to want to pounce on him. Then quickly Griffin kicked Baphomet out of the building. The people were astonished by what they saw at that time. It was seen that Baphomet fell into the swimming pool, which was full of women. Hearing a loud banging sound in the swimming pool, the women wondered about the sound's origin. While drowning in the swimming pool, Baphomet thought about whether he would die in such a situation. Baphomet thought that he had seen the picture of Griffin's abilities. Now Baphomet looked forward to the day when Griffin would kneel before him. Then Baphomet said by the way how to swim. It was seen that Baphomet began to sink to the bottom of the pool. Just then his consciousness began to fade. Suddenly he saw a beautiful woman with blonde hair coming towards him, who was helpless at the bottom of the swimming pool. On seeing the woman, Baphomet said, "Blonde hair, blue eyes, I can't take it anymore." Then suddenly Baphomet grabbed the woman's face and hair, saying, "I can't breathe, help me." The woman could only scream while holding herself back from drowning. Then some of the blonde-haired female friends were wondering about her, who had not yet surfaced. Then in front of them suddenly a few hairs appeared on the surface of the swimming pool. This made them very surprised. Suddenly they immediately called for help. The scene switches to a creature that looks like Baphomet. Then a voice is heard saying, "Number 18, number 18. After hearing this voice, Baphomet wakes up and says, "What do you mean? Hurry up and work, don't just sit still." Then Baphomet asked in a confused tone. Hearing this, his friend said, "Are you delirious? This is the time to be hunted by humans." The scene switches to Baphomet, who is waking up at that time. After the nightmare earlier, Baphomet thought that when he became a human he always had strange dreams like that. Then when he looked to the side, he was quite surprised to find that there was a blonde-haired woman trying to save him. While staring at the woman, suddenly a woman said, "Stop looking at her, while I'm still patient before I bury you here." Baphomet, who was surprised to hear that, immediately crawled back from his current position. Then Baphomet glanced at the woman who had been threatening him, and Baphomet said, "What are these women doing?" It can be seen that the women looked at Baphomet with cynical eyes. Then the manager came up to her and said, "Sorry, there was a bit of trouble here. Did anyone get hurt?" It turned out that the woman who had threatened Baphomet was the head of the Hunter Guild ARC leader named Echidna. The manager says that Baphomet doesn't know they are here. Then Hunter called one of his men, who was seen carrying a few strands of hair that had been floating on the surface of the swimming pool. She reminded one of his men not to leave a single hair from the blonde woman earlier. Then the Echidna stroked her girl and saying, "Nice smart girl." Then Echidna explained to the manager that the guild was on vacation. So the members had been staying at the hotel since yesterday, and they were currently having a full party. Pointing to Baphomet, Echidna said, "But this guy suddenly fell from the sky and messed things up." According to Echidna's confession, she did know that Hunter's management was conducting orientation activities at the hotel next door. Echidna also asked if Baphomet was the newest hunter being trained, and how could this mess up this activity. Hearing this, the manager said, "We were sorry because this was our negligence." Holding a few strands of hair in her hand, Echidna said, "Do you know what this is?" The manager innocently said, "Aren't they hair?" Then, with an irritated tone, Echidna explained that it wasn't just any hair, because according to her, getting hair like that required high dedication, such as living a healthy life by getting up early and renting expensive salons and treatments using natural ingredients straight from the mountains. According to Echidna's confession, all this was done to get healthy and shiny hair. Echidna said that this girl had sacrificed her precious time to ensure the best care for all her guild members. With an irritated face, Echidna said, "Look at these eye bags, and what's worse, this hair belongs to the hunter who is the face of the guild." Again, manager apologies, "How can we make you feel better?" Then, glancing at Baphomet, Echidna said this man must be held responsible. After expressing her objections, Echidna demanded compensation for one hair worth 1,000,000 won, and the total for the whole is 116 million won. Seeing this complicated condition, the manager was very upset because Echidna was a hunter who was more concerned with money than anything else. After fighting Hunter rank and now, Baphomet even has trouble with the Ark Guild. Baphomet himself felt angry about why he had to compensate for the loss, but the response from the Ark Guild was very decisive. The Ark Guild said that Baphomet had crossed the line and asked if he really didn't recognize him. It turned out that the blonde woman had the code name Valkyrie, a hunter rank S and also the most popular hunter in number 1 according to them. Valkyrie is a great hunter and nothing needs to be done about appearances. Then she excitedly said, she is the most famous advertising artist. Despite all that, finally Echidna has a good idea. Echidna said that if Baphomet wants to live quietly as a hunter in the future, Baphomet can pay us in installments. If the amount is too big for him, Echidna will find him a job as soon as Baphomet can pay with your body. Immediately Baphomet remembered his trauma when he was forced to work in a dungeon mined by a hospital head. Irritated face, the woman said, "What do you mean? Damn, how dare you?" Pointing at the manager, Baphomet said if someone is to blame, should have asked first what really happened, and Baphomet blamed the manager for being incompetent. Then after that, Baphomet also blamed Griffin for flying him to this place. On hearing that Griffin was involved in the women who had snapped at Baphomet that they shouldn't get involved with Griffin, the reason was that Griffin was a member of the Nebula Guild. Then Echidna said to Griffin. Griffin admits that he was the one who flew the Baphomet. Then one of the staff explained to Echidna what happened before with a smile. The manager interrupted Echidna's words by saying that we would take care of the compensation. The manager explained that Hunter's management was quite involved in the incident, and according to the manager, giving compensation with that amount of money violates government regulations. So as compensation, the manager suggested that management would give tower exclusive rights. Tower exclusive is a system that allows a guild to monopolize 1 or 2 towers for themselves. Due to the characteristics of the tower, it will always issue monsters as long as the tower has not been completed. Quests can get as many magic stones as possible from the monsters they kill in line. The magnitude of it would be very profitable for a guild. There is a rule that says that a hunter who does not have a guild is prohibited from completing the tower alone and must also hand over all the results to the guild that has the rights to the tower. Some hunters thought that the system was weird, but nobody cared, so it was better to join a strong guild. The manager said that by chance the hunter management has one tower that has not been completed for the past 1 year, and he offered the Ark Guild to get the rights to the tower for 1 year. Finally, Echidna agreed to the offer from the manager regarding the exclusive rights to the tower. Hearing that statement, the manager said it was a good choice. Then it was seen that Valkyrie had woken up from his stupor and immediately took him to the room where they lived. Then seeing some hunter management staff around, Valkyrie asked about what was going on. Then Echidna will explain later. As the ladies headed into the room, Baphomet glanced at Valkyrie. Valkyrie noticed it and glanced at Baphomet. Of course, Baphomet was confused by what the Valkyrie did to him. Then it was seen that the manager apologized for what happened to one member of the Ark Guild, and the team should have considered everything from the start. Baphomet and Griffin just fell silent hearing what the manager said to them. Then the scene moves to Baphomet, who was walking towards the hotel at that time. Baphomet thought it turns out that there are also hunters who are very obsessed with money. Baphomet just realized that there are several types of hunters in this world. While thinking about what just happened to him, Griffin suddenly pulled the ribbon on his arm. Griffin says, "You can't even detect me, but how could you possibly take the ribbon off my arm during the fight earlier?" Then there is a flashback after Griffin kicked the Baphomet. At that time, Griffin was shocked when he saw that the ribbon was not in his hand. It turned out that Baphomet had managed to take his ribbon before it was thrown out. While holding his face, Baphomet said, "Because your movements were too rough with the cloth flying everywhere, so I took it." Then Griffin said such a thing would only be realized by a high-level hunter, then showed a serious face. Griffin said, "Who are you really?" Baphomet looked speechless when he heard Griffin's question. Then Baphomet asked Griffin the reason why Griffin got carried away with his emotions, so he asked him to fight because Baphomet used the codename Demon which killed his brother. Griffin at that time refused to answer and questioned why Baphomet even changed the subject. Then Baphomet said that he would answer if the question was asked by an ordinary person and not someone who was a crybaby. Then while grinding his teeth, Griffin said, "What do you think I would take revenge for such a trash human?" Baphomet suddenly surprised by Griffin's statement about his brother. Griffin explained that he did this because he needed someone to vent his emotions. When Griffin was about to ask again about who Baphomet was, suddenly Baphomet interrupted his question by saying, "Are you angry? Because Baphomet killed the brother who wanted to kill you." Then it was seen that Griffin was quite surprised after hearing Baphomet to him. Seeing the reaction that Griffin gave, Baphomet was surprised that his guess was right. Then Baphomet explained that when he fought with Griffin, Baphomet felt an aura of hatred from him. But according to Baphomet, when Griffin said that he had no intention of taking revenge for his brother, Baphomet felt pure hatred for someone. Then Baphomet explained that because Demon Baphomet killed his brother who wanted to kill him, Griffin took out his emotions on him, because he used the code name. Lowering his head, Griffin said Hunter tried to kill another Hunter. "Do you think I will kill my brother?" After hearing Griffin, Baphomet says Hunter was not an angel. If they were angry, they would kill someone too. Although I don't know why you guys did it, even though you're little brother and big brother. Hearing this, Griffin paused for a moment and then seriously he said, "Then I'll change the question." Griffin explained that the aura that Baphomet when fighting him was the aura that he could only feel when he was in a high-level dungeon or tower. Griffin also wondered how could a human have an aura of killing like a monster, and at that time Griffin also thought that he deduced several answers, and one of them was that Baphomet was a monster disguised as a human. When he heard the words from Griffin, Baphomet just laughed and then he said, "You are indeed an interesting toy." Then Baphomet finally explains who he really is, if he is a monster. Then Baphomet asked what Griffin would do next. Griffin explained that Baphomet had asked like it was obvious to Hunter that it was killing the monster. Pulling the shirt from Griffin, Baphomet said, "Then our goal is the same, that is to kill each other. I will look forward to the day when you will know my identity, and if you don't get stronger it's a shame you will die by my hands." The scene moves to a densely populated settlement. Then while walking, Baphomet says, "Where are we going? You can't always stay in a sauna or in an internet cafe. I've found a good place for Baphomet lives." After completing the Hunter orientation program, then when he arrived at the intended location with a smile, the manager said, "No, this is the place for a large yard and a traditional house that can only be found in Korea." Then it was seen that the two of them had entered the courtyard of the house. The manager said, "The reaction might be very bad. I knew it would happen, so I was prepared." Then while looking at the house, the manager said, "Don't try to complain, so this kind of place is already good for Baphomet." Spontaneously, Baphomet replied that this place was very good. Then the manager asked Baphomet about what happened after the orientation. Baphomet replied that nothing happened. Baphomet imagined that during orientation Griffin would often pay attention to him wherever he went, but according to him, it was not appropriate to report this to the manager. While they were chatting, it was seen that someone was watching them from outside. Then the shadow of the mysterious person thought that finally a young man had come to that place, and that mysterious person thinks that he thinks Baphomet will come in handy someday. It turned out that Baphomet had noticed that Eve had someone other than the manager in the place. Baphomet told the manager that he thought someone was watching him at the time, but the manager didn't feel anything. Well, that's all for today's storyline. In the next part, Baphomet will go on a mission with several hunters to exterminate monsters, but besides that, Baphomet must be aware of the people watching him in his house. Who is this mysterious person? Look forward to the next video.